Okay, let's start. So, any doubts from previous class? Okay, good. Um,
Uh, so the Gaussian distribution that you explained last class, right?
uh-huh,
Like how we calculate the areas.
uh-huh.
So that is in statistical word we call it standard deviation. Sorry, yeah, 1 ST, 2 ST, like that we divide, right? Is that something similar to that?
No, 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 no. So, I only told you about calculating the area under a curve. That's it. So, if this is the probability and this is x, then the area under this curve is called the, uh, this should be equal to 1. It is not nothing to do with standard deviation. I haven't come to standard deviation, mean, median, mode, all that yet. So why you felt as first because of normal distribution, because of that term. Yeah, in normal
We
distribution,
also calculate, right? So if it is 3 ST, then
yeah, I
only
know.
5%.
Yes, 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 I know. But that is Z-score statistics. That is another method. That is Z-score. We are talking about Z-score. That is today I will teach you. Um, and what I have taught you now is about probability density function or probability mass function. Okay, so that is what I have taught you. But you are talking about the Z-score statistics. That one I'll tell you what is Z-score statistics and how to do it. So today we have one concept remaining from the previous class, that is cumulative 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 density function cumulative density CDF, mostly it is called CDF. So we read about PDF and we will read about CDF now. So what is this exactly? This is very much related to what we have already read. Okay, so what was probability density function? Probability density function was plotting of, suppose here is age and here is the probability. So here is the graph like this. So this was probability density function. So what we said is that we will, suppose we want to calculate the probability between a particular age, then we will connect this one with this, we'll connect this one with this, and we'll take this area, and that will be the probability of having something between the age of A and B, right? This is what we read yesterday. The probability, cumulative probability density is the term itself tells what it is. It is about cumulative, means we are adding up everything. So here it is like probability of something between, it was like X, A, and B, right? Okay. So probability CDF is always P of, this is capital X less than equal to small x. Okay, capital X is then equal to small x, and small x is some value. Small x is some value in the x-axis, and this is equal to integration of minus infinity to until x of f of x dx. Okay, so that means what? we are adding up all the probability up till x. We are adding up all the probability until x. We are not calculating the probability of a only of a like range. So if I tell probability is CDF where of x is equal to b, that means this is also included. This all is included. Okay, everything is included. Means total value of this one. So always the CDF graphs becomes like this, and at the end it becomes equal to 1. Right? CDF graphs never fall down because it's cumulative, right? They're keeping on adding. So at this point, at A, all the probabilities before A will be added. And what is the value? Say 99%. Okay, so 99% here. Okay, so this is like that. It is not at a point. What is the probability at the point A? No. What is the probability at the range between A and B? No. It is what is the probability until A? Okay, so for that, for example, I'll give you an example. So there is this classroom and there are students there, and their weights are distributed like this. Their weights are distributed like this. So what is the probability, cumulative probability of weight 60? So that means what? Only what is the probability of having some person having a weight 60 is maybe it is here 70%. Okay, but cumulative probability means it includes all the other weights from 0 to 60. Actually minus infinity to 60, but negative weight is not possible. So 0 to 60 or 1 to 60 or what, 0 weight is also not possible. So we will find out all the people who are having weight 60, 59.9999, 59.9999998, 15 like this. So all the people having weights below 60 until 0, all the people, what is the cumulative or the summation of the probabilities of them is called CDF. So since CDF is always a sum, so therefore the CDF graphs always looks like this. Always it looks like this. At the end it becomes 1, equal to 1. It touches, becomes near to 1. Right? That will be the case because cumulatively everything will become at the end it will become 1, right? So this is cumulative density function or cumulative distribution function. And this is, I am talking about whatever example I gave you about is about continuous random variable. Okay. Okay. So now you understand probability density function, cumulative density function, and some statistics, some charts, some pie charts, some things you understand, right? So one thing uh, we have to understand one thing here is that there are some few more concepts of probability that I have to take. That is like marginal probability, conditional probability, and all the other things, which has a lot of applications. But before that, uh, I want to understand from you guys that uh, what is the role of probability do you feel is it is in data science? Like how is probability helping in data science? Like mm, like if you're a data scientist, what is the significance of probability, learning probability? So Shiva, you can answer.
Yeah, I think it's having larger impact in the organism which are like basically analyzing the market analysis, like how much people are buying this product, like particular product. So in that case, probability having larger impact.
Hmm, hmm, hmm. Yeah, so this is one. This is the straightforward requirement. Oh yes, what you said, analytics. That is true. We all. Uh, you can go on mute. I think it is. Yeah. So we all know, right? Right. So now COVID is going on. So a lot of statistics is coming to us. This much percentage, your risk of this much percentage, this age group is at risk of this much percentage. So these kind of things are probability use cases. But another very important area where probability is used is in neural networks. Okay. So in neural networks, since all three of you were in the previous batches, so you might remember. So we had this gradient descent and weight optimization, right? So that weight optimization is nothing but a probability updation, right? So there also, how much probable a particular neuron is to activate and fire is determined by its weight, and that is a pure probability use case in data science. Right? So one is analytics, as you said, which is manual analytics. You sit and take the data and churn it out and take out the analysis. And a second is in neural networks. This use case is very important. So understanding probability in depth is very important. Okay, to be a very successful data scientist, not only in machine learning or analytics, but in deep learning also, you need to understand probability very nicely. Okay, so suppose you are understanding a neural network which is a very new model, say like GANs, generative adversarial networks. So you have to understand, sometimes these neural networks don't converge, right? They don't converge. They keep on jumping here and there. The loss function does not converge or does not come into the local minima. If you remember all these terms from our last classes. So at that point, you have to understand that the probability is playing a very important role there, right? So we have to understand this conditional probability, marginal probability, joint probability, okay, statistical independence of probability. Okay, so all these concepts we have to learn very nicely uh, to not only have a good hold on statistics, but also a good hold on deep learning. Okay, so I will teach all these subjects from in the coming classes. But just keep this in mind, that what is the importance. I wanted to say this thing, this 5-10 minutes, because normally what happens, people do not give that much importance to probability and statistics when it comes to data science, right? So they think it's all about deep learning. We will have a model and we will have a result. So no, you have to understand the basics first. So that will help you. Okay. So today we will learn a new concept called Z-score statistics. Okay. And this is what you were talking about, Shivananda. So this is very useful statistical instrument tool. Uh, Apart from what you have learned already, this is one. Okay. So what he was telling is what do I mean by a Gaussian distribution? Okay. So this is a Gaussian distribution. Gaussian distribution means, so before that, some concepts like mean. So mean, you know, right? I'm not going to repeat it. Just quickly, I will tell you. Mean is the average, right? It's the average of all the values. So for a normal distribution which is symmetrical, the mean will be the line going in between. Sorry, the line. Sorry. the line going in between. Okay, this will be the mean. So in a normal distribution, so equal portions will be there in each standard deviation left and right. Okay, standard deviation. What do you mean by standard deviation? Standard deviation means what is the formula of standard deviation, Shivananda?
Sum up all the data points divided by number of.
No, that is mean. I'm asking about standard deviation. What is variance? So variance square is equal to the summation of all the data points from the mean subtracted from the mean square. Okay, so this is variance, and standard deviation is equal to the root over of variance. I think so. Just let me confirm once. Standard deviation, variance. Yeah, so variance is the average of squared deviations of values from mean. So you see, uh, so sorry, okay, so this will be divided by, so and this is divided by n, the number of data points. So you see, so 1 minus 2 square plus 2 minus 2 square plus 3 minus 2 square, where 2 is the mean, 1, 2, 3 are the 3 points. So I take their distance from mean and do a square, add them up, divide by the number of points, and I get variance. And if I take the root over of this variance, square root of the variance is called standard deviation. Okay, so this is standard deviation. So mean, standard deviation, and variance, these are the three concepts which so it helps us to understand the spread of the data, right? How much spread the data is. If standard deviation is more, that means the data is more spread. If standard deviation is less, then the data is less spread. Okay, so and variance also, variance gives the same information. It's just these are two dependent variables, right? Standard deviation is the root over of variance, so uh, it's almost the same thing. So what it is said is that in a normal distribution, when a distribution is normal, in a range of one standard deviation, that means from mean, a standard deviation of 1 on the left and a standard deviation of 1 from the right. Suppose these 2 points are A and B. 68% of the data will lie in this region. Okay, this is a very important information. So what does it say? That from the mean, first standard deviation on the left, first standard deviation on the right, whatever data is coming inside this region, if I draw a straight line like this box, whatever data is coming inside this region contributes to 68% of the total data. Okay, this is a very important conclusion, and this conclusion is directly related with your normal distribution. It is not true for all the distributions. Any distribution which is purely normal, that is only that will have this property. Okay, so 68%. So what is called a normal distribution? A normal distribution is a distribution where the mean is at 0 and the standard deviation is 1, and between the first standard deviation we have 68% of the data. Between the second standard deviations, means two standard deviations on both sides, right? One standard deviation, two standard deviation on both sides, we have 95% of the data, and three standard deviations we have 99.7% of the data. So these are the properties of a normal distribution, right? Mu, the mean is at 0, the standard deviation is equal to 1. First standard deviation will have 68% of data. Second standard deviation on both sides will have 95% of the data. And third standard deviation on both the sides will have 99.7% of the data. Now, will this information help us in any way to have some analytical value? Can this help us in any way, some analytical value? Let us see. Okay. So how to convert a bell curve into a standard normal distribution? We use the z-score formula to convert any bell curve. A bell curve may be little skewed like this. Okay, it can be skewed on the left, it can be skewed on the right. To convert any bell curve into a standard normal distribution, we use the z-score formula. What is the z-score formula? Z-score. Z-score formula says xi minus mu by standard deviation. Okay, so that means what? Suppose we have a distribution of 1 2 3 4 5. 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, I have a distribution like this. Okay, so in order to convert this distribution into a standard normal Gaussian distribution, I have to apply this formula on every xi. So this will be 1 minus the mean of all these 5 numbers. The mean of these 5 numbers is what? 5 4 9, 9 3 12, no, 5 5 10, 3 5 10 10 14, 15. 15 by 5, 3. So 3 is the mean. So 1 minus 3 by standard deviation is 1, right? Standard deviation is, you can also calculate the standard deviation. So that will be 1. Similarly, the second point, 2 minus 3 by standard deviation. Then 3 minus 3 by standard deviation. 4 minus 3 by standard deviation, and 5 minus 3 by standard deviation. Sorry. Okay. So this is how we plot. So now what I get here? Minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, and 2. Right? So this number was converted to this number by applying the z-score formula. So this distribution, not this number, this distribution was converted to this distribution by applying the z-score formula. So that means what? We converted a normal distribution, any distribution, bell curve kind of distribution, to a Gaussian standard distribution by applying the z-score formula on each point of that distribution, on each and every point of that distribution. That is how we did it. Okay, so just a minute. So now what happens? So suppose you have a plot like this and you have say 50 points. This one you apply z-score and this one will get converted into a normal distribution. Okay, so this is how this z-score engine. You can think of this as an engine. Take any distribution, apply z-score, and you get a normal distribution. Now, who can say why do we do that? What is the need of doing that? What is the need of doing this? Why do we need to convert a random distribution into normal distribution? Deepika?
To know like how exactly all the data are distributed among like to mean to the both side of the mean.
Yeah, that is okay. But one thing is that when we are converting data into standard normal distribution, there are properties of standard normal distribution that we just discussed, right? That in first standard deviation 68% of data, second standard deviation 95% of the, third standard deviation 99.7% of data. So similarly, there is a z-score table is there. Okay, z-score table. I'll show you that. So this has been formulated on a normal Gaussian curve. On a normal Gaussian curve. So suppose this is a Gaussian curve, okay, and this is the mean, and I want to know the probability of everything beyond this point. Okay, now this point is say minus 1.5. Okay, this is obviously 0 mean. Okay, and this is 1, this is say 1. So now I have to calculate the entire probability on the right of this point. Okay, on the right of this point. So first what I will do is I have a random distribution. I convert that random distribution into a Gaussian distribution using z-score formula by applying xi minus mu by standard deviation on each point. After I do that, I have a standard Gaussian distribution. Now I can tell that, okay, from the mean to this side, everything is 50% of the data, yes or no? I can say. From the mean to the right side is 50% of the data, right?
Yeah.
So now we have to calculate how much is this much. So if you can calculate this much, then we will know what is the total probability. What is the percentage of probability? For that, we see the Z curve, the Z score table. Z score table. Okay, you see this is a normal distribution. Okay, find the values on the left of the mean in this negative Z score. Okay, Z value. Z value of 0.0, 0.1, 0.02, 0.03, like this. There are many values are there. Okay. Sorry, this one. Z value from minus 3.4 to plus 3.4, it is there. Okay. So it is, so what is our point here? What was our point here?
minus 1.5.
Minus 1.5.
Minus 1.5. So this was minus 1.5. Z value is minus 1.5. So minus 1.5 and on the and deviation of 0. No more deviations. We are on directly on minus 1.5. So 0.668. 0.668. That means this much area. I'll put red color. This much area contains 6.68% of data. Okay. So Z course tells us that at minus 1.5, if it is 0.0668 into 100, if I do, then 6.68%. So this is 6.68%. This is 50%. What will be the value of this? This will be 50 minus 6.68, right? Which is equal to 44.
43.32.
43.32. So 43.32 plus 50 is equal to 93.32. So from the point here, the entire shaded portion is actually 93.32% of the data. Okay, so this is the benefit of using Z-score table. Now this was possible because I converted my random distribution into a standard normal distribution, SND. We call it SND. Okay, standard normal distribution. And since SND has these properties of Z-score table, we can refer that table and deduce how much percentage of data is on the left side of it. Then we can subtract it from the remaining data, add them, and get the data. Similarly, I could have done for this side also, right? I could have seen for, so it is minus 3.4 to plus 3.4. So that means how many standard deviations it has given to me? Minus 3.4 standard deviations, right? So this is the mean, minus 0.0 and plus 0.0 is the mean, right? From here, minus 1 is the first standard deviation, minus 2 is the second standard deviation, minus 3 is the third standard deviation, and little more it has given, right? So we all know that in third standard deviation, 99.7% of data is already covered, right? So they gave only 4 more points so that we cover 100% of data. Same way on the right side also, 0.0, 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, and then 4 more points so that 100% of the data is covered. Okay, so this is the Z table which you always have to keep with us, and this is and this value is like 3.40, 3 minus 3.4. If it was minus 3.41, minus 3.42, minus 3.43, then you see accordingly. Okay, so that is the Z table. So like we saw minus 1.5, right? So minus 1.5, we took it 0. Suppose it was minus 1.6, minus 1.51, then this much is the value. minus 1.52, then this much is the value, right? So this is how it is calculated. So any doubts in this one? Anybody?
No.
Yeah. Tell the people.
No, nothing.
Biswa, you said that we need to convert that say into SND, right? SND form, that
Right.
other one.
Right.
Okay. What if that it is completely irregular? If the distribution is completely irregular in the sense going negative, positive, like it is going beyond that.
No, when you apply z-score, that formula xi minus mu by standard deviation on each and every point of your distribution, it will become like this.
Okay.
Okay, and once it becomes like this, you can use your z-score statistics to infer more results. Okay. So this is because in nature nothing will be 100% Gaussian distribution, right? Nothing will be 100% standard normal distribution. So it will be little bit here and there, right?
Yeah.
So that is why this is used to first convert it into a very nice standard normal distribution, so that we can make use of the z-score table, right?
Okay.
Okay.
We can apply on any kind of random data, or is there any specific where we can
on bell curve data?
Okay.
If you see the distribution is having a shape of a bell curve, near about, need not be exact, near about, then you can apply this formula.
Okay.
But if you find the data is like circular, then it may not happen. Okay, so we can so it is best way is try it out. So first is you create a NumPy array with circular data and plot it, then apply z-score formula on each and every point of that point, collect those points and again plot it, check if that shape is getting converted into a SND or not. Right, so you can do however so you can get circular data, right? Take a center, first take radius 1 and take 4 points, radius 2 take 4 points, radius 3 take 4 points, radius 5 take 4 points. So this is your data set, this is a circular data set. Apply z-score on formula on this and just check if this is getting converted to this shape or not. If it is getting converted, then you can apply it for any distribution. Okay.
Yes, Nitesh is waiting.
Yeah, I admitted him.
Hey, so sorry.
No problem. No problem. We have recording, so that's not a problem. Okay. So we have covered PDF, CDF, z-score statistics, and we will go into a little more of statistics, that is marginal and so now, so in probability, so in probability, we are covering some important topics. First, we covered random variables. Just write in short form. Okay, so there are two types of random variables: discrete and continuous. So in discrete, how many types of discrete random variables are there?
Positive, negative, and 0.
No, that is correlation.
Oh, yeah.
So like continuous random variable, there is ordinal, and then what else is there? There are three types of continuous random variable, right?
Categorical.
categorical and binary. And for discrete, there were two types, I remember. What were the two types? Something, I forgot. You just check it out. So we read about random variables like this. And from the random variables, after the random variables, we read about the probability mass function. Probability mass function is for discrete. Probability density function is for continuous. This says that sigma of all probability is equal to 1. This says that the integration of all probability is equal to 1. Conceptually, they are the same things. This is just discrete and this is continuous. Then we read about CDF, cumulative density. Same, we also have cumulative mass function. Cumulative mass function is for discrete. Cumulative density function is for continuous. Here we said that it is for any p of capital X less than equal to small x. So until x, whatever the probabilities are there for every point, add them. Here it will be discrete points. Here it will be integration. Here it will be a summation from minus infinity to x of px, and here it will be an integration of minus infinity to x px. Here it is minus infinity to plus infinity, entire space, entire region. Here also minus infinity to plus infinity. Okay, so cumulative. So the probability mass function or probability density function makes a Gaussian or normal type of distribution shape, whereas the cumulative distribution function always takes a shape like this, so that at the end it becomes very close to the point 1. So this is the thing. After that, we read about mean, variance, and standard deviation, and then z-score statistics. Z-score. So this is probability we read. What is pending is we will read is marginal probability, conditional probability, joint probability, independence of probability. This much we'll read. And we also read about graph, scatter plots, histograms, bar plots, pie charts, violin plot, box plot, then population plot. What else we read? Any other plots we read? Contour.
Age distribution plot.
Yeah, age distribution plot, contour plot.
Yes.
Yeah. So these are all the types of. So now, as a statistician, your dictionary or your bag should be good enough to fill up. So after this class, I will send you a set of CSV files. Using all these principles, whatever I taught you, you have to give me at least 10 insights from there. Okay, you have to generate insights. One is understanding the concepts, one is using the concepts to generate insights. Okay, so there are two different skills. Okay, understanding the concepts is easy. Somebody may explain it to you, you'll understand it. But using that concept to generate something which is not visible to the naked eyes is difficult part. So after this class, I'll give you that. Use this and find it out. Next class on Wednesday, we will complete probability and we'll complete this. Okay, maybe not next class. Next class, we will complete this joint probability, conditional probability, and statistical independence of probability. And Saturday, we will read about all types of distributions, Poisson distribution, binomial distribution, Gaussian distributions. And once these distributions are over, we are done with statistics. And then we will start going into machine learning. We'll start with this linear regression, logistic regression, and slowly we will move ahead. Okay. So this is the plan how we'll do, and in between I will be giving you tasks for you to perform. So today, after this class, within an hour, I will supply you a CSV file in the WhatsApp group. Please download it and use it for getting at least 10 insights from there. Okay. If everybody gets the same insight, then I will understand that you copied. So try to do it individually yourself, and let's see how many insights you get. Okay.
Bishwa, we cannot say it as copy. We can say it as a team effort, right?
Yeah, but but in the team, it should be a team effort. Like all persons should contribute. If only one person contribute, others use it, then it's not.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Then I will drop today's class here now, and we'll meet on Wednesday, and I'll send you the CSV.
Thank you, Bishwa. Thank you. Good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.